Hi everyone. My name is Ayodeji or Lord Sarcastic, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm glad to have everyone here to join this meeting. We'll be treating making web pages interactive with Stimulus. Personally, I've worked with Stimulus I think once or twice, and I think it's a great library to consider for front end or for mainly back end developers who don't want to get their hands dirty with React, Angular, and single page web applications. With respect to that, I have Destiny who will be speaking on the topic. He's a software engineer, front end developer. I've worked with him um, on a project, and he's someone I would say he's one of the developers I would say I really I am in awe of or I fear because of his efficiency at working. I really admire his rate of work and the way he works. He's really good at what he does. He's quite conversant with React and maybe any other stack. He'll be introducing himself on the topic and he'll be speaking for 20 minutes. Then we'll have a 5 minute break where I make some announcements, and then he's going to take the rest of the session for the next 25 minutes, and then we'll have questions and answers. In the meantime, I'll advocate for you guys as we start the meeting in case you belong to group chats or um, you have friends who may be interested in this session. You would want to give them details of the meeting. I'll be posting it in the chat section, so you can just copy and paste it right now to them so they can take a look at it. Alternatively, if you are a Twitter person, you can simply just click on this tweet I'm going to send to you. We have an official DevMeet Twitter account for all our meetings. You can simply click on this tweet I'm sending to you. Like the tweet, repost. I'll prefer a quote, just quote and let them know it's starting right now. Please don't forget to follow the account and um, click on turn on notifications and all. And lastly, I'd like you guys to be aware that we have a website right now. Some of you may not be aware, but in the past 1 year, we've been working on this low key. And we've worked on a website where you can follow up on events, current events, past events, and events that are going to happen in future. I'm dropping the website link right now. So, um, whichever one you're a fan of, if you prefer to share the link, the event details with your friends, please go ahead. If you are a Twitter person, please click on the Twitter link, like, share, and retweet. Thanks, guys. Moving forward, I'll be handing over to Destiny to start the meeting. Destiny, are you ready?
Yeah, I am. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
It's nice to have you guys here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So you're welcome. Please go
Okay,
ahead. The floor is yours.
okay. It's an honor to be here to say something and to educate you guys on something. So I'll just share my screen so we can move on with what we have for tonight. So as we progress, if you have any questions, you can write them down in the chat section, or you can just write them somewhere. Then you can ask after we are done with the entire meet. So I'm going to be talking on making the web interactive with stimulus. I think this is okay, no need for me to use it presentation. So I'm going to be talking on making the web interactive with stimulus. Like the sarcastic said, my name is Braimah Destiny, Brad for short. Nowadays I normally tell people Brad, my name is Brad. It's a combination of my surname and my name. Most people think it's weird, but I just feel it's comfortable for me, Brad for short. So making it web, making web interactive with Simulus. So why do we have to know about Simulus? Why do we have to like know what's the benefit of Simulus? Why should we use it? It's another JavaScript framework. We know the JavaScript community. We love creating frameworks, love creating a lot of tools just to create problems for ourselves and also like create business solutions for ourselves. And Simulus is one of those things. It's something that has come to make what we are doing in our application a little bit easy for us, and also to do it so well that you don't have to bother about what's going on. You don't have to write a lot of JavaScript or think twice You have to, okay, I have to make this video, but I have to make this and that because I'm not going to be managing the entire code base forever. You get something like that. The Seamless is here to do something good and do it so well that we don't have to complain. So let's just go over. Let me just run you guys through the table of contents that I have for us. So we are going to be moving from what is Simulus, because we need to understand what's Simulus, like what's your story about Simulus, like why should you even use it, why should you care, about the pros and cons, then go about comparing it with other of our famous libraries out there or frameworks out there, things like React, things like Vue and the likes. Then we go over to our Q&A, which is the last thing that we have on our table of contents. So let's just dive right into it. Let's just dive right into it. So starting with what is Simulus? What is Simulus? According to the site, is they are saying Simulus is a modest framework. So let's see why it is a modest framework or why they call it a modest framework or a modest library. Oh, I'm not too fast. Like I feel like I'm talking to myself like I am fast. Just shoot me fast so I know okay, I'm not too fast.
No, you're just fine. You're just fine.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
very
you're
well.
fine. You're not fast. You're fine.
Okay. So let's start with what is stimulus. So let's start with this. According to the creators, not myself, like I tested, I went through the templates that the stimulus starter templates of their product on GitHub, and it was like wonderful. But let's see what the creators are saying about what they created. They are saying stimulus is a modest JavaScript framework for the HTML you already have. So before I explain that, or before I go deep into that, let's see something again from Smashing Magazine. It's actually from Mike Roger. That's the person or the author of the article. So he said, Seamless complements your existing HTML. So what does this mean? It means that Seamless does not want to like concern itself with the way you render out your HTML, the way you style your page, the way you structure your style sheet and the likes. Similar doesn't want to like concern itself with those things. It just yet to like do something very well. We are going to see what Similar does, like how it does and everything. But I just want to make this foundation, like build this foundation that Stimulus does not concern itself with how you render out your HTML. You can see frameworks like React, like Vue, they tell you, okay, this is the way we render out your HTML. We have the server side stuff and the client side stuff and everything. But Symbols doesn't want to like bother itself about how your HTML is rendered. It just want to like help you do one thing and do it very, very well. And you don't have to worry about that thing in the in the lifetime of your application or throughout your entire code base. You get it complements your application. It complements your application. It's a very, very interesting library that complements your application. Just like just add to your project or add to your existing project, and you don't have to be controlled. It does not give you a set of rules you have to follow or set of like, let's say, define patterns. You have to do something. You don't say you have to like structure your page here, put this file here, put that in here, and do that in here for it to work. So it doesn't like it doesn't do those things. It's like I don't care how you render out your HTML. I don't care how your styling are being like placed, wherever they have been placed. I'm just here to do something for you, and I'm here to do it so well. You don't have to worry yourself about it. So that's the beauty of stimulus. That's why stimulus. That's why we're talking about stimulus today. That's why it was even like brought up as something that's worth our time here. You get. So let's go over to the origin. Like we know that the JavaScript community, we are so fond of like just like over the you can just say a JavaScript developer, like over the weekend, if I just encounter a problem or something very minor or major, like then I can create a JavaScript framework for this. So I can create a tool for this, a library for this. Instead of them like just creating an issue on an existing tool or existing, what's it called, existing framework, something like that, or an npm package. They can say, okay, I can just create this thing on my own. I know JavaScript. I know how to do this thing. So instead of just writing an issue somewhere that they might ignore, okay, let me create another problem and also bring a solution to the JavaScript community. So let's see why Seamless was created. What's the edict they came to give us? What's the solution they came to give us? What's the beauty about it? The problems that came along with it, the wonderful things that it brought to the table. So we're going to start off from the creators of Simulus, because when when we have tools out there, we have frameworks like this out there. We need to know who created this stuff that we want to use, who created this stuff that we are trying to like know about and the likes. So the creators of Simulus are those developers at Basecamp. I think we all should like. Let me just think I can pull up the Basecamp site. I think I have to stop sharing, and but this will be added to the resource at the end, yeah. So I don't have to unshare and share again. So let me just say summary. Basecamp is a project management platform. It's a project management platform that helps small teams move faster. I'm just reading from their site, their site, which you can go through later on. But basically, it's just a project management platform. Like we have other things like Fellow, we have other things like Pick Up and the likes. Basecamp is something like that. Yes, you have other applications or other products, but this is just this is like the major one. This is the major one. The project management platform is the major one. So those are the creators, and we need to see why these creators or why these guys decided to create this thing for us, decided to create this thing and okay, made it like known in JavaScript community or made it known or made it open source, something like that. So Basecamp, the ones at Basecamp are the creators of this beautiful library. So before we see the why Stimulus was created, something was created before Stimulus. That's where we have the in between. Something was created before Stimulus, and it was called Turbo. So Turbo was created before Stimulus. So I didn't wanted to like write a full or just give Turbo a personal slide on its own. That's why I'm going to just summarize the stuff. I don't want to take our time because Turbo is another beautiful library or beautiful package you can install in your application. Something like that. If you want to just play around with it, we get there in a minute. Why I say what I'm saying, if you just want to play around with it. So in summary, what's Turbo? Turbo was created to give you a feel. There's a reason I'm using like some specific terms here. Like the feel, they just pay attention to that. So Turbo was created to give you a feel of single page applications. How single page applications work. Like you know the reasons, if you know you write React here, all these React lovers and Vue lovers and the likes. I myself, I won't say React lover, I won't say Vue lover, but I want to fall in love with Stimulus. Like researching on it for the past few weeks, I think it's something I can see. I can have a project that's in production with systems like that to get. So, Turbo was created to give you a feel of single page applications, to give you a feel, to make you, okay, come into the world of single page application, experience it, and don't be left out. Because we had React, I think React was created before we had all this similar stuff and this Turbo stuff and everything. So people wanted to create that experience where you have to like you don't have to like go through the full browser reload experience because your browser had to like download those CSS, with JavaScript, and those things that were required to give give that page or your website life. So Simulus was created to just to resolve this or to make you not experience this thing, to make you not experience this thing. I think I need to hurry up and not waste time on just explaining this. So let's just go back to the next one. Why Stimulus was created? Why Stimulus was created by developers at Basecamp. So something we need to know before we go into like go a little bit deeper go a little bit deeper on the why. The applications that were built or are built by Basecamp, developers at Basecamp, are server-side rendered. And we all know that server-side rendering is quite fun. It's like fast, the what's it called? The SEO performance and the likes, all those beautiful stuff comes with server-side rendering. But single page application or the field of single page application or the things single page applications bring to the table, it's something we should all if you're someone who builds your project around users or user-centered design or user-centered development, you have the users at the forefront of your mind, like, okay, I'm building this stuff not for myself, but for my users. You get. So that's like the thing or what the developers or the people at Basecamp had in mind. They wanted to give their users the last feel of single page application. We said, okay, we created Turbo, but Turbo didn't really achieve what we wanted it to achieve. But Stimulus is built on top of Turbo so that we don't just disregard Turbo. So, but it was not really yet. It was not really giving them what they want or like taking them to where they want to get to. So they gave us a new solution and gave us a new problem. So Stimulus was just like, okay, we brought Stimulus to the table. Let's give our users the experience of this single page application, this entire noise that's going on. Because React was already existing then, Vue was already existing then. Okay, let's get on this train. Seamless was not created to create a competition because they would have just like the failed. Let me just use that word. They would have failed because we had a stronger community when it comes to React, or a stronger community when it comes to Vue, even Angular, for those people that love Angular. So if they wanted to create a solution or a product that would have been brought about competition, they would have failed. They would have really failed because they wouldn't have been able to keep up the market or something like that. So I think we understand the why. I think we understand the why. But if you don't, I think you can just draw my attention back to it in the question. I'm trying to work here. I'm trying to work with time. Yeah, trying to work here with time. So let's see the journey. What was the result of the experiment, or what did they do, or what did they give to us? What did they give to us? So let me just read through this thing. Due to the increase of single-page JavaScript application and the real benefit they provide, benefits are like faster page transaction or switch, more fluid interface, which are free from full page reload. Like I was saying, your browser, if you're going for the full page reload, the browser has to like install sorry, get the JavaScript that you needed for your page, get your CSS and the likes. But the team at base component to give their users this feel. They wanted to give their user this feel. So it led them to two-punch solutions, which is Turbo and Stimulus. Sorry, excuse me. Led them to two wonderful solutions, Turbo and Stimulus. Like I already said what Turbo is, and I said Stimulus is built on top of Turbo. So I think we can move over to the next slide, not to waste our time. So let's just switch to this again. Seamless was created as a comprehensive solution, a style, a pattern of making your HTML shine, a pattern of making your HTML shine, and at the same time, it reads as a progressive enhancement. Reads as a progressive enhancement. I'll get back to what that means. I'll just go deeper later. But let's just read the last paragraph. It also maintains the separation of consign that has been lost in many contemporary JavaScript frameworks. So what this is trying to say here is that if you were to come across a seamless code base, you're just new, let's say you were employed or you got a gig and they were making your seamless. What the team or why they created it or the way they created it, they said, when you get onto that project, that you spend an hour or two, you should be able to understand, okay, this is my JavaScript, this is what this is doing, this is what that is doing, you'll be able to understand this and this and that. That's what this is trying to tell us. It's just like, okay, you're making the HTML shine, you're not yet to do any fancy stuff or any complex stuff that you will not be able to understand at first glance or even your second glance. For people who tend to like take more time in trying to understand something that is going on in the code base. You get. So I think I have a lot to say, but I think I have like 3 minutes before the break. Let me just continue with the next thing. So, how stimulus, sorry, how does stimulus work? How does stimulus do this wonderful thing? How does stimulus like make the application feel magical or the experience you provide to your users feel magical? So let's see. Stimulus rolls up a pattern or ways of doing something in a modest way. You said you can see. And when I was saying something about stimulus, I was saying it does not constrain you to certain patterns or way. I will explain. So that you guys don't think that this statement here is contradictory to what I've been saying since. So I'll explain. I'll explain. So stimulus rolls up a pattern or way of doing something into a modest, small framework revolving around just three main concepts. Just three main concepts for every language, for every framework, or for everything you want to learn, there's always some foundations. There's always some concepts that library or that framework is built on top. So this is the way Stimulus handles or like does this magical thing in your application, in your already existing HTML. It makes use of controllers, actions, and targets. So let's see what these three fancy words are. It might not be new to you guys or some of you. It might be the words like on its own might not be new to you guys. But let's just see. Let's just go through them. Let's just go through them. So controllers. What are controllers? This refers to instances of JavaScript classes, which are the building blocks of your application. JavaScript classes for those of you that write Java actually built on classes and the likes. Those of you that writing their JavaScript code or any programming language you're writing, they like playing around with classes. For me, I think I love functional programming, but sometimes we do play around with classes. So controllers, these are instances of JavaScript classes, which are the building blocks of your application. I'm just trying to go over them like later. I'm just like go deeper into it later. For actions, they connect your controller, they connect your controller to the DOM using data action attributes. I'll show you guys an example or a code sample. I'll show you guys a code sample. Then for targets, this locates elements in your DOM that are significant with a controller. They have importance to a controller. They have importance to a controller. No, sarcastic, should I continue? Because I think 20 minutes already. No, sarcastic. Is he here? No, sarcastic. Come on. No, I think, can someone just let me tag him on WhatsApp before he comes back? Let me just go through the code examples.
Right, I'm here.
Okay, I said, should I continue? Because you said 20 minutes, like,
All
then we
right.
break.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for this first part. I just want to give a few announcements. First of all, we have a Twitter account that's for Dev Meet where you can follow and get updates on upcoming meetings. We also have a website which I'll be posting right now in the chat section that you can check out if you have if you want to see all about upcoming sessions, future sessions, and the past events. You can also see recordings on past events that we've already held. For example, today's event is already recorded or is being recorded, and you're going to see the recording later on this week. So I'll be dropping the website right now. You can just check it out. Don't forget to um, check our Twitter account also. I'll be dropping a tweet right now, which you can check out Twitter account, follow, like, and share and retweet. Yeah, so that's it. Destiny, please, you can go ahead. I'll be handing over to
Okay,
you.
thank you very much. Okay. So let's just go over the coding examples that we have here so that we get to understand controllers, actions, and targets. So from this first example here, Data attributes are used to define your class, your controllers, your actions, and your targets. So looking at this code, the intention or the thing the Basecamp developers had in mind was that looking at this code, you should be able to point out, okay, this is my controller, this is my target, and this is my action. And knowing what actions, controllers, and targets are, you say, okay, this this code example is really straightforward, but I'll just explain it. So data controller points to your controller, your defined controller in your JavaScript file. The name you gave to your controller, that's going to be your value for your data controller attribute. Then for the source, you define your source, you define your target. Like when defining your controller in your JavaScript, you define your source. I hope I add a close example for that. You define your source. You define your source like, okay, this is my target. This is where I'm getting my actions from. This is where I'm getting my events from. I'm getting my event from. So I didn't mention. Sorry. So Java Simulus is here to handle events and handle it so well that you don't have to worry about handling events or writing extra JavaScript to just to handle your events. So that's the major purpose of Simulus. Simulus also do other things too. It does other things, but this is just the major focus of Simulus. Handling events and doing it so well that you don't have to worry about it. So that's the thing about Simulus. So the data table target is telling your is telling Simulus that this is where my event action, like whatever user's action, browser action, and likes. This is where they're going to originate from. This is where they're coming from. So I want you to keep a close eye on this element. Keep a close eye on this element and be ready to trigger my controller or trigger the functions or the method I have in my controller whenever this my source or my target does anything for me or whenever the user does something to it. So for the data action, they're specifying this is the action I want this my target to have or this element to have or to respond to. You get something like that. When you define your target, you define an action. So from your keyboard controller, you're telling the Simulus that use my copy method. Let me just go to the next code or the next code sample. So this is how you define your controller. This is how you define your controller. And this extends from the controller class as Simulus provides for us, or the Simulus library provides for us. So defining your copy function here tells your browser whenever a change occurs to my source, which is my target, call this method or call this function. And you can see this just copies your text or whatever has been imputed to your input feed, copies it to your keyboard. So if you're using your JavaScript, you have to add your what's it called, add an ID, add your action, then go to your JavaScript, find the element, then you get things like that. Find the element, then navigate and so on. Get the value from that element and the likes. But you can see, just tell yourself, or let's be frank, you can see this is way easier. If you know you write JavaScript, this is way easier. This is way easier to do. Again, if you haven't do some other more complex things, this is way easier. So not to waste our time, let us go back to the pros and cons. Why you should use Simulus? Why do you want to play around with Simulus? Why you want to even use it in your project? So I have to write summaries and just explain them on the go. So we're going to go first through the pros. Why would I even be here advising you to play around with Simulus or to build something with Simulus? So event handling, like I said, Simulus is here to do event handling for us. We have to do so well, I won't have to bother about it. And another thing is that it's lightweight. You add Simulus to your project, you can add to your existing project, or you just want to build something from the ground up with Simulus using NPM or the JavaScript bundle or the CDN. Yeah, JavaScript bundle is the CDN. It's lightweight. You don't have to worry about if I add this to my project, it's going to cause a lot of performance issues due to its size and lights. You don't have to worry about that. That's one of the benefits of using Simulus or playing around with Simulus. Code readability. just be frank with yourself. The code samples I showed you guys, you can see, okay, if you are truthful to yourself, you are honest to yourself, this was easy for you to understand. If you know it was not easy for you to understand, like, just raise up your hand. Just signify. Like going to the code sample and going to the code sample, you were not able to like understand or just get a clear view of stimulus or the bubble of stimulus. You can just signify. I think as a result of the silence, no one, everyone was able to like just get a little picture, a little understanding about stimulus, about like, okay, okay. I thought someone was trying to signify that. They didn't understand. Availability. Then the next one is approach to state management. Like I said, stimulus does nothing aside from event handling. So I think I'll just touch this a bit. If you see other, what's it called? Let's take React for example. React tends to create a virtual DOM. It creates a virtual DOM for you, where it tends to like compare screenshots or snapshots and compare state and state change and the likes in that virtual DOM. But what Stimulus does is that your state is managed in your DOM. That's the actual DOM. It does not like it does not create a virtual DOM where it does manipulation and all. It just it does it right there in the DOM. It does it right there in the DOM. So that's how it's managed. And the reason this is kind of a pro, or this kind of like something that's quite beneficial, is that if you are working on a very simple project or something that's not that complex, you don't want to be thinking about comparing snapshots on a virtual DOM over and over again when you're doing a lot of things or some little things. If working on a small project does not require that much effort. So just managing your things on your DOM is quite straightforward and quite easy. And that's one thing. That's why I have to like write on the like the pros or like the benefits. The other benefit that Simulus provides is the simplicity. The simplicity. Okay. The simplicity, very, very simple to understand. Once you understand that three concepts, that's the controller, your action, and your target. Sometimes you're classified into two, actually, you're classified into two. You're classified majorly into your controller and your identifiers. I just wanted to like break it down in a way that you're able to say, okay, this is what this does and this is what that does. So you're classified into controllers and identifiers if you are comfortable with that. But if you want to go for the broader or the deeper part, controllers, actions, and targets. Reusability, those libraries or those frameworks that are here to that are here for single page application or make us write single page based applications. They tend to bring this thing called visibility, where you have to write here, you can use it there. If you're writing plain HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, it's a lot of work because that might not be reusable in a way. If you do not structure your code in a way, it can be reusable in a way and not reusable if you do not do it rightly. Something like that. If you get the gist, you don't get what I'm trying to say. You get. But I hope you guys understand because I don't want to go into that one that you have to like make your HTML, CSS, JavaScript reusable, something like that. So you can go research on that or just play around with articles. Flexible. Flexible in the sense that you're not like restricted to certain patterns or certain things. You get to define what you want to do. You get to define, okay, this is the way I want to go. This is how I want to do whatever I want to do. As far as okay, I have my JavaScript files, my controller somewhere I can do my event. Works well on its own. Windows works well on its own that you don't have to install to extra things to do some things or to handle your event or to handle some things you want to handle that are related to event handling or interaction or interactivity, which is the thing we're trying to talk about here. So it works well on its own. If we check something like React according to the 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 people created that React Facebook, sorry, Facebook. They said something on their site. They said React is a library. It does not work on its own. For the React developers that are here, React as a library does not, it won't allow you to build those complex or those fancy stuff you are building. React on its own will not be able to do that. You need the React DOM, you need the React Factor and the likes. So those are party packages or something you need. But for stimulus, you don't need extra things to do whatever you want to do. You just okay, this is stimulus. I'm here to handle event. I'm here to handle interaction, and you're good to go. So the cons, these are the two major cons. These are the two major cons of stimulus. If you want to do something with stimulus, HTML rendering. If you are someone who cares about HTML rendering, you are someone who, sorry to use this word, who React has spoiled or Next.js has spoiled or you are spoiled, and you just like love the way rendering is handled for you. So I think you might want to reconsider playing around with stimulus or just like, okay, hold your React or your Vue tight. Another thing is the community. The community, things like React, things like Vue. You tend to have larger communities or let's say a buzzing community where you have like a lot of libraries, a lot of solutions, a lot of people always ready to help you, always ready to be there to answer your questions and like. So comparison. So we want to play or we want to do something very, very dangerous here or find something here. Comparison. Let's go to the next slide. Comparison laws with frameworks like React. What I'm right, what I wrote here, I said comparison laws with frameworks like React would be a mess, not fair. It's not going to be fair for you to say, okay, don't look up one money or you are talking to someone and you want to compare stimulus with React or something like Vue. It's like you just want to cripple the entire stimulus ecosystem by just like giving the benefits of React or giving the benefit of Vue or giving the benefit of Angular for those who write Angular. So I said it's better to compare it with something like jQuery. For those of you that were sorry, for those of you that made use of jQuery, those are like principal devs or those who have been developing applications for a very, very long time. So if you made use of jQuery or you read about jQuery, you should know what jQuery is or what jQuery does. And you can see from what we have been saying about stimulus, it is quite it's like it's related to jQuery in some way. It's related to jQuery in some way, but there are some benefits, there are some advantages or some IR or some things that stimulus tends to do better than jQuery. So sorry. Okay, let me just go through this. Seamless allowed, like according to my project, Seamless has allowed me to build application in a way that feels reusable and approachable. Why I don't think Seamless will take over the web like React and Vue? I think it's a worthwhile tool to learn. So my project is saying it's something to learn. And for me, going through the template and from what Dr. Kashi said, he has also played around with Seamless. So it's something you should do. It's something you should play around with, or something you should do an application or a project idea with. So I think I think we can move over to the learning curve with similars. So for comparison, if you tend to have any question, just remember to write it down somewhere so we can continue and work with time. We have like 11 minutes more. Then the learning curve in Simulus, like Simulus is so straight to the point and so easy to learn that you can just go through the entire documentation in a day and start building. That's how easy Simulus is. Very, very easy that you don't need to like know a lot of things. Like we said, just know your controller, know your action, and know your targets. Like define them. Just know when you know them, you know your actions, know what they mean and what they do in your application, and you're able to define them, you're able to create them in your application. Okay, like from the code sample we went over, you can see okay, this is how a a controller is linked to your HTML element or your DOM element, or these actions are linked. This is how they are created. This is how they are extended from the controller class or the controller class in the library that Simulus, sorry, the controller class that the library Simulus provides for us. So if you are able to know all this, just know your controller, you are good to go. You are so good to go dealing with Stimulus. You don't have to learn any magical thing or learn any other thing. That so for React, you have to be learning how to manage states, how to route, do your page routing, how to render your component server side. The new next 13 that came out, we are not even done playing around with that. They brought us next 14 and the likes. View 2 point something, we are doing with view 2 point something. You woke up one morning and you see view 3 point something. You Angular, you are seeing new things, and you're kind of overwhelmed if you are new to the ecosystem. So those are just like starting out, and those that are kind of new. They are seeing those things and are kind of overwhelmed, don't know what to do next. But the Lord shall help us. The Lord shall help us. Because JavaScript devs, they are on another level. So the setup process. If stimulus it easy to learn, the setup process should be straightforward. That's like the intention. They didn't want to get anything complex. They already had the application on the server side. They end up set out server side. They just want to give their users a taste of the single page application. But they didn't want to be left behind. They didn't want to just like, okay, we don't want to do this when we train. Let's give our user a taste. So if you are a fan of NPM or you are the guys to go with DS bundles, so you can either go to the NPM website and get yourself a very, very good library, a swift library. The alt-wired slash, it will be shared, the slides will be shared, and also links to those things will be shared. But you can also go to the NPM site and just search for it. So this one way you can just go to, so you can just like npm install stimulus or just add it to your um, existing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript using the script type module tag. That's how straightforward it is to install or get started with Stimulus. Very, very straightforward. So all the things I've been saying since from the beginning, all the things I've been drawing your attention to. So is it really worth your time? Like you came to this meeting to learn something and you have been hearing me speak about this stuff. So is it really worth your time if you are starting out, if you're already dealing with all those fancy React and views and the likes? Is it really worth your time? Another thing here is that another person here, should you share it? Should you share it? But I'm here sharing it with you. So why am I here sharing it with you? I'm going to give you some reasons. But I just want to decide on you. I don't want to like impose this thing on you or this thing loss on you. I just want to do like at the end of this meeting, you should be able to say, okay, I want to try out stimulus. I want to do something with stimulus. So that's like that's my intention for this meeting. I don't want to like impose anything on you guys. So what are my reasons? Like some of the reasons I said, okay, similar to something I can build with, something I can play around with till till I decide to go back to my beloved Reactor view. So first, I think I made a mistake here. I'm just noticing the class approach. The class approach. If you are a fan of class approach, because most people they do not they are not a fan of the class approach. If you guys know, like the class, you have to define your static, define your methods, define your constructors and the like. So if you are not a fan of the class approach, so that's what Singles makes use of. If you're not a fan of that, I think you can just stick with your React. You just go and learn your React. So if you're not a fan of those of the class approach, you're a functional guy, you go with your functional approach or functional way of doing things. Another thing is if you're just starting out, you're already learning your HTML, learning your CSS, learning your JavaScript, and you want to get your hands dirty and you want to belong and you want to belong with those playing around with or building a single page application. Stimulus is a very, very nice way to go. It's a very, very nice way to go. You're starting out and you can play around. You don't have to like learn a lot of things just to build a single page application. You're just starting out, so you can play around with it. You can just build it with Stimulus, build on top of a existing HTML code. Another thing here if you care a lot about how your HTML is rendered, if you have phobia on how your HTML is rendered, don't just come to Seamless. Stay where you are. Stay if you are someone who writes, you are someone who writes, you just stay there. If you think when you're done writing, come on, oh, we are going to help me render my stuff. Oh. If you're paying attention ever since, you said Seamless does not concern itself with how your HTML is rendered. If you are someone who overthinks how your HTML is rendered or how you want to make sure you render to HTML in a way its performance and blah 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 and the likes. You want to get 100 over 100 lighthouse test and everything. Don't just come here. Don't just come here at all. Like, or you're someone who loves to play around with stuff or play around with libraries. Still loves is something. It's the way to go. So another thing is if you have an existing project that is built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, if let's say you are working on in a company or working on you had a project where you're starting out and you was building HTML and JavaScript and you want to just go back to the touch it, you can use Seamless. Yeah, handle events, handle it better, and do something better. So now thing for states every project, like I said, if it's a small project, Seamless handles or manage your states in the DOM, which is not really expensive when it comes to complex. When I mean expensive, in terms of performance, in terms of how what's it called? How so there's a word I'm looking for when I remember, but you get how expensive in terms of complex applications, building from complex logic. If you know you're that guy, I think you can go for other frameworks. But I think things I'm used to build some complex projects, not to like make you discourage, not to discourage you from using it. That's what developers at Basecamp are using. So you can use it to build. For me, I think I'd rather use other things to build a complex application. So the last thing here is if you don't like the approach, you go to the documentation or whatever I've been saying here since you are like you don't want to flow with it or you're not really like understanding what I've been saying since or you don't really get why they decided to give us a new solution and a new problem. You don't just get it. Don't just bother yourself about coming to stimulus. Just hold on to the things you hold dear to your heart. Now the conclusion we have been talking since. I think we just have a few minutes. I think two or three. So the conclusion. So I've been like going through everything, why stimulus was created, the origin, the in-betweens, and the likes, the reason why you should use it. There's something I want to say here. If you are someone who loves thinking about ideas or just meditating on the problems you have around you, and you say, okay, I am a programmer, I know how to write code, I can create a solution for it. Just know if you want to create a solution or a new tool or a new library, be ready to solve the problems that are going to come along with it. Be ready to solve the we are going to have a lot of issues. People might be adding issues to the repos if you make it open source. Just be ready. Don't just come here and give us a solution and you bring a problem along with it. Because for every solution you bring, there's a chance or it's like 50-50. You are bringing a problem along with it. Like I'm using your stuff and I discover okay, this can be uh, it can be done a better way. But it can be done a better way in the sense that it does not go outside the idea you had when you were creating it. So just be ready. Be ready to solve. Be ready to solve. So I think the last slides are just the speaker. So I'm a student, University of Benin, and also a Softwebdigital. So these are the resources that will be shared. Like when we Snapchat student share the slide with you guys. So these are just like some articles you can go through or some links you can go through that are really helpful, really very helpful. Like when I was making my research on stimulus, these were the things, some of the things I made use of, and things I made use of to just learn. So the other resource section contains libraries and contains other wonderful stuff you can go through that are built using stimulus. Stimulus is built from on top of Turbo. Other things are built on top of stimulus and the likes. So thanks again for being here. My time is up. Thanks again for being here. It was a wonderful time with you guys and a wonderful time sharing this thing with you guys. And once again, I'm back. Nice. It's good. And this slide was created by Slide Go. You can see how beautiful it was. Like if I was the one to fit myself, maybe I would have spent like 3 months doing it. So it was like created by Slide Go and the icons and everything. So we shared with you guys to go through it. And thanks again. I appreciate you all.
All right. Thank you very much, Destiny. That was a very informative session. I learned a lot concerning stimulus. I'm sure this is time for question and answers. If you have any questions, you can just click on the hands icon on Google Meet just to raise your hand. While the questions are coming in, just raise your hand. I'll call you when it's time. While the questions are going in, I'd like to ask, what is a great project, pet project I could work on, or what is something I could work on in the meantime that could really help me pick up stimulus, or a very good project that will really show the power of stimulus? Will it be a blog? Will it be a really an application that contains lots of animations, or a personal website? What kind of application do you think would be great for using stimulus?
Is that question directed to me or sorry? I was trying to go through something here. No, Sakasi, the question directed to me.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
No, I said what you said. The thing you said just now, is it directed to me or like
Yeah,
yeah?
to you. I'm
Oh,
asking a
oh,
question.
oh, oh, sorry. So, for those starting out or those wanting to play around with stimulus, I think the best project ideas or things that you can do with stimulus are those interactive sites or those sites that you're going to be doing a lot of event handling. That's something similar to shine. Something it will shine when you make use of it in that scenario. It's going to shine. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to do something like a a planet-based website where you're saying you get to over a planet, or you get to click over it, you get to move over it with your mouse and the likes and everything. You can make use of stimulus there. Okay. You can make use of stimulus there to handle those your events. You can see from those code samples I shared, it's quite easy to define your method. You say, okay, when my user is moving over my one planet, let's say Earth, for example, okay, do this thing, show up this thing, do this, and like just define your method. You can have a single controller that has this method all outlined and likes. So that's one place. So a similar thing to shine in project that events like yeah, they have a lot of events going on, or events are like there's a lot of interaction. Have a lot of interaction on your site. So if it's just a basic blog or just basic stuff, I won't advise you to use Seamless. Just go with your plain HTML and CSS. I think that answers your question, Sakasi.
Yeah, thank you very much. John Paul has a question. Please go ahead, John Paul.
Okay, Chief.
Okay, good evening. I actually have two questions. The first one is performance. How performance is it? Because some of these libraries that make stuff very easy to use, they pay the performance cost. And the second question is adoption. Are there really similar jobs for me as a front end developer, or uh, why would my CTO allow me to use it if the next person if we can't find another person to continue the similar job. So what's the adoption like and what's the performance like? Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that question. When it comes to performance, like I said, it's a lightweight of 30 kb. That's 30 kb for a library that does this event handling so well. So if your application or your project is in HTML, CSS, HTML sites like having your site in HTML on its own, it's fast. It's fast. Just having a basic site on HTML, it's fast. So adding a library that does not affect the size of your application, 30 kb. What's 30 kb? If you add it to your application, it's not going to say, if you're not going to like say, okay, it's as a result of this library I added. That's what dropped my performance, or that's what caused my application to be lagging. So in terms of performance, Seamless, it's good. It's good in terms of performance. Terms of performance, just adding events. It's not doing any magical stuff or doing any complex stuff for it to drag down your application or drag down your what's it called, the performance of the thing you're trying to provide to your users. And it's just like on the sideline, I'm yet to handle your events and interaction. I'm not yet to do any other thing that will result in making this application, this should be application slow. So going over to the next question, I think what I just said answered your first question. Am I right? The first question you asked. If you're not still clear, I can go over
Yeah,
that again.
you
Okay.
yeah, you talked
Then the
about
second,
the file size.
yeah, okay. So for the
Yeah, you
second
talked about the
question,
file size, but you didn't talk about like speed.
oh yeah, for speed, for speed. So I'm going to go back to that, the lightweight or like the speed, the size of the application. Like I said, HTML its own is fast. HTML its own is fast. So adding a library that is it's small, it's not going to affect your performance or affect the speed of the application. It's not. It's like adding an extra CSS file or adding an extra JavaScript file to your application. It's just a collection of classes. It's like you're extending from a defined controller class. That's all you are doing. So that's not going to affect the speed of the application. Hope that answers your question now, like you're clear now, Chief. Okay. So for adoption, why should your CTO allow you to use stimulus? Like when I was starting out, I said, oh, from that my reason why you should even play around with stimulus. If your project is already in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, your stimulus, if you're able to bring these things or the reasons why or what stimulus does, explain to your CTO, okay, this is what stimulus does. And your application is something that's centered around um, event handling and the likes. Being able to explain them, your CTO, okay, this is what this stimulus is doing, and these are the benefits of stimulus. You should it should allow you to use it because looking at the code samples, or looking at things or the way stimulus does these things, it's really easy uh, to understand, to read through the code base for someone that just needs the stuff. You need to the stuff. So so you need to stuff. You can just go through at least one or two files and you say, okay, these are the controllers, these are the targets, these are the actions, and they are making reference to this section of my JavaScript code. You have a clear picture of what's happening. So it should be easy for you to adopt into an existing project of yours or an existing HTML system JavaScript. Or if you just want to play around with something or do something fast, let's say you have an idea and you have a meeting with your CTO, and instead of spinning up reactive view, I know view is also quite easy. Instead of spinning something up with those things like view, react, angular, and the likes, you can just have your existing HTML, just create an existing HTML file, which is easy to do. Your CSS and JavaScript, just do something very simple. And once you're talking to your CTO or talking to other people in your team, so they can have a clear idea of what's going on. You can show them this is what's happening here. Handle your event with stimulus, stuff is quite straightforward. But then into JavaScript, you have to find your element, find this and this, find that and that. But stimulus is just straight to the point. The adoption, it's really easy. So I hope I'm able to answer your question, Chief. Your questions.
Sorry, I think you missed the adoption question. So the adoption I was asking is, how many developers know this? That's the
Okay, in terms of
question.
the number of developers that are making use of stimulus, or like when it comes to adoption, like people in your I think I get the question now. So like I said from the beginning, when the developers are stimulus were creating or they are creating stimulus, they had the intention or, or their goal was that whenever but first the community around stimulus is kind of small. The community around stimulus is kind of small. Like Not a lot of developers know about similar. So not a lot of like projects are built with similar. That's one thing you should just have at the front or back of your mind. So for the team aspect of things or for adoption for teams, if you have built something with React or you have built something with your even your HTML and CSS or JavaScript, you should be able to pick up stimulus really quickly, like so fast. If you're able to like restore documentation, so just go to a 10 minutes video, you should be able to understand stimulus because it's quite easy to understand. Understanding pretty concepts, controllers, target, and actions, you should be able to understand that. You should be able to like start building things with it on the go. I think I understand your question now. Like I haven't been able to answer it.
Yeah. I get that the adoption is low. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay. I think that community aspect. Okay, I think I get now. So
All
any
right.
other question?
So any questions? Anyone have any questions or round up? All right, then. In the absence of any questions, I would like to give just drop one or two contributions. A very good use concerning adoption for stimulus. I do not think that Stimulus is one of these libraries where you talk about how many developers know Stimulus. Personally, I picked up Stimulus. I think I first encountered Stimulus about 2, 3 years ago, and then I had less experience than I have right now. And I picked up the entirety of Stimulus in a day. Like you can peruse the entire documentation in a day. It's lightweight, and that means you have less things to read about. All you need to check about is controllers, actions, and I can't remember the last thing. It's really, really easy to pick up. It's not something you read the entire documentation, read several code bases before you understand how it works. Something you can already grasp, adopt incrementally in your code base, and everyone on the team understands it. It's not something you have to dedicate weeks or months to learning before you can pick up. That's one thing about Stimulus. That's a very good thing about Stimulus. Another thing about a great use case for stimulus is say you are building say a small application in the company and you don't want to have to set up a separate front end, have a separate back end, having to write install so many APM libraries just to ensure your application works out of the box. If your back end supports server side rendering, but you're using a framework like Django or Laravel or Nest.js, that's a very good use case for stimulus. You don't have to deploy a separate front end. You just render it from the back end and then use Stimulus to make the web page interactive. As you can see, Stimulus basically focus on interactivity much more than rendering, much more than hydration, much more than state handling, basically interactivity. If you want your website to be interactive, you want to handle the events on your website, you don't want it to just be just static there. Stimulus is a very, very, very good use case for that. So that's a very good use case for Stimulus for interactivity and basically for working with server side rendered code. In the absence of any question, I think we've had a great session so far. Um, for code examples, I'm sure lots of you would have loved to see code examples, just like myself. Uh, I'll be dropping link to several resources on the event page. On the page for this event, you will see several resources that would be on that page. It should be updated between today and tomorrow. You see resources on Stimulus. You can see repositories and several code examples that you can use Stimulus on and a bit more to know about Stimulus. This is the event page you can click on to check about all of these details. Thank you very much, Destiny, for today's informative session. It did stir up a lot more interest on Stimulus for me. I've been thinking of using for a side project, and then I was trying to change my mind and come back to Stimulus. But yeah, this kind of solidifies things for me. Thank you so much. In closing, I would like you guys to be very much aware that we hold these meetings every week from now on, compared to before where it has to be one weekend, then 3 weeks of silence, then another weekend. It's going to be every single week, so you can expect that there's going to be a meeting every single week. So check out future meetings. You can simply visit DevMate website, which we recently worked on a community effort. There you can check out what we do at you can check out all the events, upcoming events. For example, like next week, John Paul will be talking about caching and everything you need to know about caching, a very deep dive in caching. I mean, there's this popular story that there are three difficult things. There are three hardest problems in in programming. One of them is caching. Second one is off by one errors. If you're looking for the third one, you may have missed the joke. So that's it about DevMeet. I'll be dropping our Twitter link. Please follow the Twitter account. We'll drop information updates about the meeting and concerning recordings and everything that goes on concerning DevMeet. Thanks everyone for showing up. Have a nice week and see you next week. Bye.